Hello everybody, Vigo's Shadow here, and today we are doing another video because there is a new character that is released for the regular character pool. Now, I'm talking about Glimmering Blade Beatrix, and what's actually really cool about this one is the fact that we haven't seen a Beatrix unit in a long time. So, the fact that Beatrix comes out like maybe a month or so after like Iris is nice because you both have them on that same like rainy battlefield setting, which is awesome. It's absolutely awesome, and I do love this. So I'm hoping this is a pretty good unit for red as well. She's supposed to be boosting red teams and elves as well, so we'll see how good her kit actually is for the regular character pool. She is a red attacker. And then, of course, we have this Scarlet Blood Queen Elizabeth Shadow Festival banner. Now, what I gotta say about this revival banner is that I've already done a video on it, so you can go ahead and check that. I might throw a link in the description. Otherwise, if you just type it in, you'll probably find it. There was other banners around out during that time, like Zeta and Delta, which I kind of focused on. But the fact of the matter here is that Elizabeth does a lot, like of course bleed damages, and then she's canceling debuffs here, and it looks like, so she's kind of a cleanser, and then again more bleed. This is just a rough synopsis, by the way. You can definitely go into the other video to check it out even more. The best part of her kit basically is right here, where if you have vampires and you have humans in your party, so you'll raise your own attack, and that's the whole shtick with this one. And if you have a full team of 5 with either humans or vampires, Elizabeth becomes stupid OP, or like pretty damn good. So, and her link gear here is that she can recover all like vampires and human allies every time bleed is to recover SP, which is actually really good. So she's actually definitely worth a pull for sure, I believe, if you're going for a human and vampire team setup. Now that we have more characters that can fit the bill into that one, it's better. It's better now than what it was back then. I mean, we have a little bit. We had a little bit of. We didn't really have much vampire units come out. But mainly it's been human units for green. Either way, it depends. Like I said, it depends on your team comp. I probably won't pull her because I'm using Zeta right now, and she is not a human or a vampire grouping, and I like Zeta on my green teams, so I might just keep it that way. But you never know, down the line, that might change. Either way, this video is about Glimmering Blade Beatrix, so let's check her out. Let's just go to the profile here. Let's hit the max stats. For us, we got power to healing boost, stop if you need to there. And then we got healing boost to overheal. On my max stats there if you want to check that out. And the grouping is just an elf, so just keep that in mind. The background, of course, is amazing. I love the lightning. I love the rain. This is probably one of my more favorite art pieces, even though there's not much stuff in the background besides like water, a little bit of a building and a bridge. The background could be used more fleshed out, but I just like the atmosphere. The lightning, the rain, the storm. It's cool. Let's just go to the skills now. We're going to Cloudless Rain Hidden Technique. I'm actually very excited about this one. We're getting more like 3 hitters. We're getting more like multiple hits with these ultimates, and that is way better because you can hit damage caps, but it seems like this one is actually a lot weaker because it lowers the defense on all enemies by 20% for 10 seconds, which is good, and then it further inflicts 3 hit damage, 300%, 300%, 300%, so it's a total of 900%, which is the weakest ultimate I have ever seen, ever. So I'm hoping that the other stuff in her kit allows her to stack a crap ton of damage so that this can make up for a very lackluster ultimate here, or hidden technique. When this is awakened, you only see a buff of 10% and for 5 more seconds, so honestly pretty garbage there for the awakening there. I wish that was better. Let's just go to the Flying Adder skill. Skill 1 here. Lowers attack of a single enemy with the highest attack by 20% for 15 seconds. Further, or inflicts 150% damage on all enemies within 150 centimeters of target enemy. Further inflicts knockback by 200 centimeters. Now, at least that one's a better skill 1 for sure, because you're not only are you lowering your attack, you're also doing 150% damage on the enemies within that centimeter and knocking them back as well. So, I would assume, because I'm not going to look into this, so correct me if I'm wrong, knocking back your enemies will definitely help, because it's not necessarily a stun, but they're going to have to like walk back into place. And if we're looking at this in arena sense, let's say you knock back, it's going to do the highest attack, but let's just say if it's wasn't the highest attack, it's going to knock back the tank, and if you knock back the tank in arena, then you have some of their mid lane exposed. So that's where knockback comes into play, and it also can come into play with other enemies. Like if you got like those annoying like enemies that target your mid lane, sometimes you can like knock back these tankier enemies and then get them. Or in this case specifically, because the highest attacker may be their mid lanes, if you knock them back, that'd be better. Well, maybe it won't have it be targeted, but you kind of get the gist. I won't go too far into the knockback and everything else there. The main point is that it's lowering their attack by 20%, and it hits multiple enemies, so not bad for a skill 1. Now this is actually increased by 10% and 50% on the damage. Honestly, another bad awakening, it's not as good. Same thing with this one. This one is not really a good awakening on there either, so Flying Adder and the Cloudless Rain is something we want to see tucked away. Now let's see Knockdown. Alright, so this is probably where it's going to be getting better. Raises the attack of all elf allies by 30% for 15 seconds. Also raises speed by 30% for 15 seconds. Further shields damage 100% of skill user's attack for 15 seconds if it's red elemental. So this is very, very restrictive. So you got to keep in mind, right? If you want the full benefits for this, you have to be an elf ally, okay? And then you have to be red. So not only do you have to be an elf, you have to be red if you want the shield. 30% attack and speed, though, I mean, even if you don't have the shield, that's way better. So this is going to highly, highly benefit elf allies, and when this is awakened, we get a 10% increase on attack and speed, and I'd say that's actually adequate for an awakening as well. 50% more on the shield, which, not bad. It goes from, like, standard shield to little bit a standard and a baby shield, I guess. Not so much there. I think that's a better awakening than what we've seen thus far. Let's just check out the special ability, Glimmering Blade now. Every 15 seconds after the start of the wave, raises damage inflicted for all allies by 15%, multiplied by the number of red elementals in your party for 15 seconds, recovers SP by 100 if elf. Okay, now actually I like this one because this is less restrictive. Well, actually, it's still restrictive because of the red elemental part of it, but if you just take away that, it's every 15 seconds. Okay, now think about that. Every 15 seconds after the start of the wave, raises damage inflicted by all allies by 15%. So everybody's going to be doing, and this is not bound by like an element or an elf grouping here, but yeah, so it's 15% base, okay? And then after 15 more seconds, so it starts 15 seconds after the wave, then you get that damage inflicted. 15 seconds after that, you're going to be at the 30 second mark. You're going to be doing 30% damage inflicted, and then you're going to be doing 45% damage inflicted for all allies is very, very good. And it's also multiplied by the red elementals in your party, and this is what makes the hugest difference, because this went from like shit to hit immediately because of this ability here. It's just crazy how one ability in somebody's kit can just turn somebody's around. Like this went from like straight like D tier to like immediate B, like BA A tier, from if I'm just eyeballing it really. Red elementals in the party for 15 seconds, because imagine that. 15 seconds after the start of the wave, if you have 5 red elementals, right? So if you have 5 red elementals in your party, and you times that by 15, you're going to get 75% damage inflicted for 15 seconds. That's crazy. Alright, that's crazy. Oh, and then also, man, I hate to backpedal, but it only lasts for 15 seconds, so that damage inflicted, it does not stack. I was saying it goes 15%, then 30, then 45. Cut that out. That's not what I meant. I read it wrong. Here's what it is. 15% damage inflicted every 15 seconds. That's it. But if you had 5 red elementals, it's 75% damage inflicted every 15 seconds. Now that is absolutely nuts. 75% damage inflicted is absolutely cracked. Needless to say, you're going to probably want to build your teams around red or of course red units, because you want that 75% damage inflicted. All red, gotta have it. Then on top of that, if you want the 30% on the attack and 30% on the speed, you have to have an elf in your party. So it's going to benefit from elves, and let's see what we actually have for elves. I'm going to go dip into the regular character pool to kind of just show you what we have that you can put for your teams. Also, when this is multiplied, of course, when it's awakened, it's 5% more, which goes from 75 to 100% damage inflicted. So that's actually very considerable, and then more SP on the elf, okay? So that's pretty good. Now let's check out the link gear. Hopefully this is really, really good. Okay, at the start of the wave, shields damage 100% on all allies for 30 seconds. That's awesome, but it's only a standard shield. Further raises speed by 15% for 30 seconds. Now, that's actually good. So, even if you don't have elves in your party besides Beatrix, you're still going to be getting that 15% speed on all your allies, which is amazing, and that's exactly what you want. And a little bit of shield. It's just a little, it's a standard shield, at least, for 30 seconds, which is probably going to go away, unless you have other people shielding as well. So that seems to be it for the attacks and the magic gear. Kind of blew through that a little bit quicker than I thought I would. Awakening, we have the Flying Adder skill, which is trash, gotta say it. It's not that good, I'm sorry. Then we have Knockdown, which is actually a mid, I'd say mid skill. I don't know if you can argue mid to bad or mid to good. I don't know where it kind of places, so I'm just going to place it in mid for now. That 10% is going to make a difference for sure. On the elves only, that's probably why I'm putting it at a mid, is because it's just elves, alright? Cloudless Rain is that hidden technique, which is trash, because it lowers the defense. But it doesn't change your damage values, and that's what I wanted to see, and it doesn't. 900% damage on a hidden technique is just awful. But the damage inflicted kind of makes up for that. So, I don't know, maybe, let's say best case scenario, you're hitting it double, so 1,800% on the hidden technique, all in total with all the buffs and stuff. Maybe, I don't know, that's just, like I said, I'm just eyeballing it again. Either way, it doesn't dismiss the fact that this hidden technique at base value is bad. Alright, magic gear slot, not really necessary. And of course, the best thing in her kit is tucked away, going from 75% damage inflicted all the time, or every 15 seconds, to 100%. And this is definitely going to be something where, if you get A5, great, but I would not spend any magic crystals or anything like that on any type of regular unit in the regular character pool, because they can be pulled over time. That might take a lot of time, but it's definitely not worth grinding all the way to A5 for this unit. There is way better units to put your magic crystals towards. Now is the question, should I pull this unit? Always no, because this is a regular character banner pool, and you can always check that again. I will keep reiterating this every time, is that, because we're going to be going here next anyway, you're going to go to your characters, you're going to go at the bottom, and oh, there's Beatrix. So after that banner expires, she's going to be in the regular character pool, and any banner that you pull from, unless they started limiting pools now, you have a chance at getting her. So, that's that. I never pull for that. You want to wait for the banner to expire, and if you have any summon tickets or something like that, you might want to wait if you really want this unit. How practical is she to use on, like, for red teams now? With that 100% damage, or that 75% damage inflicted, it's actually pretty nuts. And what you gotta use is red people for the red team now. Let's see if we can find any elves for the red team, because that was her main thing, is to find elves, so you can get that 30% damage. She's just a vampire unit, I remember, so that's not going to work for her. So out of my characters here, I don't think she might be. Let's just check here. She is an elf, so you could use Run, Eat a Slime. Even though she's, I guess, not that good unless you have her magic SS Plus gear. What else is here as well? Lambda, you could use. She is an elf for sure. So she would be a good healer to use on your party if you do happen to use that Beatrix for sure. and then Runita Slime is a possible candidate. The Lambda Rose combination, it's still a red unit, and it's still probably worth running, even though she is not an elf. So she won't gain those abilities, but she's a tank, so that's not too much of a loss. What you want to really look for and dive in here is for the red attackers. You want to find red attackers because you want that speed and that attack on red units. Now, I have Ocean Temptation Beta, which was from the banner a long time ago, and that's an event unit, that's an elf unit, but I'm not sure if she's like not even really meta relevant anymore. So this one's different, the Theanthrope, so that's not gonna go into. I'm just diving into the character list here to find if there is any at all. Maybe this one you could use, but again, or Blessed Gamma. I think she has some magic SS Plus gear that you could use as well, but I know her genuinely as a unit. Let's see here. Raises damage inflicted. So actually, this might be a good one to bring with if you do manage to pull that Beatrix, because you're going to also be raising the damage inflicted for all attacker allies. So you're going to be bringing that 75 to 30, so you're going to be 100, like 105 permanent. So that's good with that SS Plus gear, and then raises the damage limit as well, so that's even better. So you might want to, it might be worth taking Blessed Gamma on for a ride for your teams. And then filling it out with something, like if you got, of course, Aurora, Swaying Moonlight, or SF Aurora, or any other SF Reds, or even like I'm using Iris with her SS Plus gear, might be worth taking her. Just somebody that can actually have a lot of damage to use here. I don't know about Anarose because you're making a totally different comp with the elves, but you know, again, there's not too much of a pull to pull from elves. Obviously, there's like Gamma you could pull from. There's Ida with the Run Slime with her magic gear, and both of them have magic SS Plus gears, so that's not bad if you grind that out for them. Lambda's an elf, so that'd fill like good quota there. The only person that you wouldn't have on red is a tank, but like I said, the tank doesn't really need. It's good to have it, but it doesn't necessarily need it. But if you're running Lambda Rose combo, you're actually doing a lot as a tank as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors that feed into it, but for me personally, I'm probably not going to, if I do pull Beatrix, I'm not going to run her into my parties. Actually, you know what? It's still probably worth running her into the parties because of this obnoxious Glimmering Blade ability, which is 75% damage inflicted every 15 seconds. Now that's actually nuts. Even if you don't have elves onto your team, that is broken, guys. That is broken. So it's probably even worth still putting her on the red teams. So I changed my mind a little bit. I had to run through a few things. It's definitely still worth. 75% damage inflicted is no joke. The rest of her kit is kind of definitely mid, for sure. But all in all, because she has that ability, definitely not a bad unit to pick up and put into your red teams. As long as you're making a full red team comp, then it should be good. And if you happen to have a good elf unit in the mix, that's even better. But that's all I can really say about this new regular character pool unit that's coming. I'm glad there's another Beatrix unit, and it's actually decent that you can use for your teams. Vigo, signing off.